Hello and welcome. I'm back from the cinema. I went to watch the movie The Roses with my friend, and what an amazing movie it is. I just want to start off by saying that if you're watching this movie to know if you should go and see the movie or you should not go and see the movie, run. Do not walk to watch this movie. It is an amazing movie. So if you're trying to watch this to deliberate, do bother not. Go to that cinema and watch this movie. If it's out on streaming, stream it. It's an amazing movie. The movie is a 2025 romantic dark comedy, and apparently it's a remake of a 1989 movie based on the book, which is of the same title, War of the Roses. So there's a 1981 book titled War of the Roses. There was a 1989 movie made about that book, and now in 2025, this movie called The Roses is a remake of that movie based on the book. I have personally never seen the first movie, neither have I read the books. So I was going into this with nothing more than the knowledge that I had gotten from the trailer, which is that it's a movie that's a dark comedy about a couple that's kind of at each other's neck, and that it's a movie that's funny and stars Benedict Cumberbatch and Olivia Colman. The plot summary of the movie reads: a tinderbox of competition and resentment underneath the facade of a picture-perfect couple is ignited when the husband's professional dreams come crashing down. If you do not know who I am, my name is VDK and I make movie bingo cards which are available on my Substack, vdkfilmclub.substack.com. I also talk about movies. This video is going to be split into a non-spoiler section and a spoiler section, so I'll be kicking things off with non-spoilers. First off, let me start by talking about the script. The screenwriter did an amazing job. This movie is very smart. It's very, 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 emphasis on very funny. It is hysterical. To be this funny, yet this sharp, it takes a lot of wit. It takes a lot of brain. It takes a lot of smarts. And the person that wrote this did an amazing job because this movie is, oh my God, so funny, so romantic, yet so clever and so smart and so sharp in the story that it's telling. Amazing job. Amazing job to the screenwriter. The next thing I want to talk about is the acting and the characterization. Benedict Cumberbatch and Olivia Colman, they knocked it out of the park. Another very big shout out to Kate McKinnon. She really had all of us in knots. The movie, Benedict and Olivia, they really, really carry and they carry through. It is so good. They are both firing on all cylinders. The chemistry between these two, I've not seen Olivia in a role like this. And seeing her in this role in this way, it was so funny, so refreshing. I loved it. Like, I loved it. I loved the acting performances. As far as directing goes, the director killed it. The movie looks good. The shot choices, the cinematography, the sets, the props. I can just talk about this whole non-spoiler section is just to tell you, please go and watch this movie. There's nothing bad I'm going to say about this movie. Just know that. Like, everything worked. I'm just going to even quickly just run through the non-spoilers. The pacing. The movie is kind of long, but earned. There's no part of it that you would say, oh, this was too, they could have cut this part out, or they could have cut this part out. Maybe you can kind of say that maybe this movie could have been 3 minutes shorter, but it's not even like the movie is perfectly paced and perfectly the runtime is worth it. Like, so well done. Who is this movie for? For me, the movie is for everybody. If you are a lover of film, if you're like me and you'll be waiting for like a movie to really finally bring the romance, this movie brings the romance. But it also brings with it thrills and a fantastic ride and so many jokes. You will be laughing. You will be laughing for in this movie is hysterical. Oh my God, it's such a good movie. I cannot recommend it enough. I cannot recommend this movie enough. As I've said many times, if you haven't watched this movie, run and watch this movie. It is, oh my, unbelievably good. One of the best movies I've watched this year. Definitely in my top 3. Definitely. So without further ado, I'm just going to dive right into spoilers. I made a movie bingo card for this movie, so I will be using that to guide my conversation around this film. The first bingo slot I want to talk about is Therapist is Visited. This movie opens with Olivia's character Ivy and Benedict's character Theo in therapy. And it's a very clever way of opening the movie because it already sets the tone. It tells us that this is a couple and they are in therapy for some reason. And then the therapist is also asking them to say good things about themselves and they just start listing insults. But they also both find it funny and they know that there is love even despite the fact that they are in therapy and that they are fighting. It immediately establishes what this movie is, that this is going to be brutal and they are going to fight, but amidst it all, there is love. This movie is steeped in love. It's a love story through and through. It also immediately establishes the humor of this movie. And I want to talk about the humor for a second. This movie is marketed as a dark comedy, and truly the comedy it's a dark comedy. The number of jokes, the jokes are unending. And They are also very smart, but also like sharp, and like some of it is just jabs and it's insult and it's funny and it's sexual and it's playful but painful. It's very sharp. It's very sharp comedy, but very funny comedy. It's not the kind of comedy that you would need to be like the most highbrow person to understand. It's funny jokes. The jokes are funny, period. The next bingo slot I want to talk about is characters on a magazine cover. And I want to now get into Ivy and Theo and their relationship and the dynamic. So a lot of this movie is about the patriarchy in many ways, and feminism and a marriage, and how a person is trying to subvert the standards of patriarchy. And when it was favoring him, he was like, "Oh, I'm this type of man." But when he then finds himself in a situation where he has to actually take a step back from work and be the father primarily to the children, he's battling with his own inner toxic masculinity and the patriarchy, and him feeling like he's not the breadwinner of the family, and how that plays. We see Ivy too, who, when we see her in the movie, she's really giving up her own dreams to take care of the family. And now she starts to enjoy the good life. She has the tides turning in her favor. And we see how that affects her, how, she kind of starts to, in some ways, neglect her family, and she really gets swept up in the allure of the glamorous life. And it's intoxicating. It's hard to not fall into the excitement of that when you haven't had that for a long time or ever in your life. This movie plays on the dynamics of marriage, on feeling appreciated, feeling seen, having the different sides of you acknowledged. And another thing that this movie is very good at is having these two people who seem to be very good communicators, but do not know how to communicate the most vulnerable, most intimate parts of themselves sometimes, which is so funny because they can see every other thing. They can see the most darkly humorous thing, and they can say very honest things masked as jokes. But when it just comes to straight up vulnerability and just really saying how they feel, sometimes they kind of struggle. We see that Ivy really battles to say the word sorry and to just say it earnestly. It's something she has to learn too in the movie. The movie does a fantastic job of just presenting two characters that are like, they love each other. They are trying to make this work, but they have things to learn and unlearn from the patriarchy, from society, within each other, within the relationship. And this movie just explores all of that in a beautiful, poignant, sweet, wonderful way. Something else I really want to commend the writer on was finding something, because as a writer, you're always thinking of how can I do this thing in an exciting way, and finding one inciting incident, something that will at the same time tank his business and put hers on the rise. And I thought bringing a storm was so clever. He's an architect. The way his business visually comes crashing down, literally comes crashing down, and hers, because the highway is now blocked, because of this same storm, it then leads business to her. It's a very visual, striking, smart way of using one stone to kill those two birds. The next bingo slot I want to talk about is walls are banged against. The moment this happens in the movie is when Theo goes to the bathroom in the airplane and he like bangs against the wall. This is after he's seen his architect friend who's having good things happen to her, and he's not fulfilled in his own personal life. So he starts hitting against the walls. And this ties into something I was talking about earlier of the communication. Because in that same plane, we also see a moment where Olivia goes to the same bathroom. She looks at herself in the mirror and she's like, just say sorry. But then when she comes out, she can't quite say sorry. There's a very big conversation about communication in this movie. And I've already talked about that. But what I want to talk about with this particular bingo slot too is alcohol, and how the things that you do not say come out regardless. And you see a lot of this movie, the drinking escalates. The drinking escalates. When he comes out of the bathroom, Theo, after seeing the architect's friend, he asks for two scotches. Scotch after scotch, we see by the time Ivy wakes up that he is blasted. Like he's been drinking, he's now become a nuisance. And the drinking only makes everything worse, because it's also when Ivy drinks that she then airs her opinions about his own life and him sulking, and she says the whole thing of you either get over it or you just let it go. The drinking was really like always showing just how things escalated. And when you do not address things, they come out in unflattering ways. If you can't find an outlet in one way, you will find it in other ways. And drinking alcohol really became an outlet for these characters. And it also escalated how badly things got. Even the dinner scene with Ivy and her increasing messy behavior was also thanks in many ways to the drinking. The drinking in this movie really, for me, is a whole other like plot device that really is its own thing that just shows that people will find outlets and it's good to have a healthy outlet. The next bingo slot I want to talk about is Crabs Are Tossed. And I want to talk about the war aspect of this movie. I loved that, for me, for example, going into this movie and what I really saw in the trailer was the war. And I love that I still got that. I love that as a person who also came for the drama and for the mess and for the battle, the war aspect of it, we are also really, really fed the war. But I love that even inside the war, you can still see so much love. The love is never lost in this movie. The romance, the chemistry, it's never lost, even in the darkest moments, even when they are really at each other's throats. And I also really do love that the war aspect of it was kept to almost like a montage at its worst, so that it doesn't really take away. The movie doesn't feel dark or doesn't get to a point where you're like, oh, this is like, I'm not enjoying what I'm watching. It shows you enough of the world to keep you satisfied, but it also has the love underneath it to still keep this a very nice, sweet movie that you leave the cinema feeling good about. I loved that. The next bingo slot I want to talk about is A Gun is Pointed. And I want to talk about the final battle, where we finally see them really go at it with each other. And then at the end, they come together, the movie ends. I don't even know what to say really about this movie in terms of, I don't want to really get into the like nitty gritties, like specifics of this movie because the movie is perfect. I just want to say as a whole that this movie, I want to just shout out people. That's all I want to do with this video really. It's just shout out everybody that was a part of making this movie. It is a phenomenal film. It is a movie that I really hope inspires more movies like this to get made. It was a proper romance. It's a proper comedy. It's a proper thrill. I love this movie and I just think I love everything about it. I love the ending. I love how she chases him with the gun, but then he opens the door, she puts the gun down, they then go to bed together. Even the last line, I laugh so much. The house is filled with gas, and then he says, Harry, or whatever the name of the AI thing is, set the fire or start a fire. Like, that was just comedic to me. It was just a sweet movie. I went with my friend, and we just both couldn't stop raving about the movie after. It is a perfect film. I give a big shout out to every single person that was part of making this film. And if you have watched this movie, what did you think about it? Did you have as good of a time as I did, or did you have any bad things to say about this movie? I would be very surprised to hear them because I don't think this movie has anything bad to be said about it. This was a phenomenal movie, flawless film. Big shout out to the producers, and we need more movies like this in cinema, period. I really hope people turn up for this movie. I really hope it gets all the love and support that it needs because I believe that truly this movie deserves all of the love, all of the support, all of the accolades. Fantastic movie. Thank you for spending this time with me talking about The Roses. If you haven't watched this movie, please go and see it. And if you have, let me know what you thought about it in the comments. For the movie bingo card of this movie and all future bingo cards and all the movie bingo cards I've done, you can find each and every one of them on my Substack, vdkfilmclub.substack.com. Please don't forget to like, subscribe to this channel, and I will see you in the next movie. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye.